Hi class! So as you transition into running your own analyses in our studio and your turn exercise for this week, I wanted to give you a quick overview on how to use the lecture code, repurpose it to help you run your analyses, and provide some important reminders of what to do to help our studio find the variables to work with. And so one of the things you want to do first of all is to make sure that you've saved your lecture code and the dataset you're working with. In your case, it's a clean version of the Psych 300 Data 1 dataset from before. And so this is from the previous module where you had cleaned the dataset from our own class. And so make sure to download that. And once you've downloaded both the lecture code, which is a .r file, and then also the dataset in the same place, then what you can do is to go to Session, Set Working Directory, and then choose the directory to set the working directory. That will let our studio know where to find that information, all the stuff that you want to open and save on your device. And so you see at the top of the lecture code that you see a reminder to set your own working directory, and that is a very good habit to get into. And then the next thing, looking down, would be to import the dataset. And so I've already done that, so you can see it over here, but you can go to the import dataset and then choose from Excel. We've got Excel files as datasets, and then use the browse button to look for that dataset. And then the code will update for your own data file. So you can just copy that code once it's updated and then paste it in here. So you see the example of the code that I've run to get the dataset in here. Now, do note that your dataset will be different. So what you're seeing on this screen is very different from what you're going to have in your own dataset, because that is the dataset that you will want to use is the one from this particular class that you had cleaned from before. This is just a demo dataset, so my numbers should not match up to yours. But your code will look similar to this. Your dataset will probably be called something slightly different. Now, scrolling down the lecture code, you will often see this, but if you don't see it, then consider creating an attach line to your code, which is something that I tend to do whenever I work with datasets, is to attach that dataset so that our studio will know where to find your variables. Now, let's say you just wanted to skip over, you're very eager. Okay, I'm just going to run my chi-square test of independence. Poof. You try running it, and then you get this error. Object not found. So our studio has no idea what you're referring to yet. It doesn't know which dataset you're trying to use. And now you might remember from before that something you could do is to just use the dataset $sign variable convention. So some folks like to do that, some scholars that I know. So you could try doing that. Now, do remember that this is case sensitive. So if you have any typos in your dataset name here, it probably will not recognize what you're trying to say. I believe I wrote this well, but if I made any errors, then this probably will not work. It worked. Okay, so I was very careful in my typing, just running stuff in the console just for demonstration purposes. But so you might remember that you can tell our studio what the variable is or where it is by providing the dataset name. Make sure that it is correct by case and the spelling. You can also take a look at this code to see what the dataset is called here. And you can also see it here as well, the name of your dataset. And then $sign and then the variable name. So dataset name, same here, and then $sign variable name. And so you can run that code. Now, I am lazy. I do not want to type that many things. And so what I would do is to attach the dataset, which would basically tell our studio for this session, please use and refer to this particular dataset. And then once you have done that, then you can run the rest of the code. And it recognizes what the variables are and where they are because we have told it where it is. Something to note is that as you continue to run different analyses, you will probably encounter different data sets. And I would generally start a new session, really, that rather than to keep one long session going with all sorts of data sets in the environment. That gets pretty busy. And sometimes you can clean things up by using the broom button and so on. But I personally would just start new sessions if at all possible. But if it's not possible, or you have multiple data sets and you need to maneuver between those, just wanted to let you know that you can also do a detach to let our studio know I'm no longer working with this data set. I'm kind of curious, does that actually make these, hitting the up arrow to recall my previously run code here. So yeah, we return the same state. And so I often will use attach and detach to kind of maneuver the data sets that our studio will be referring to in a session. And so do keep that in mind. So if you ever get this error that the object is not found, then something to consider is, have you told RStudio which dataset to use? And if not, then make sure to consider using the attach on your dataset. Otherwise, make sure to use the correct specification, which is dataset $variable, and that should work exactly the same. Tells RStudio where to go to look for that variable. And then if you needed to not refer to that particular dataset, maybe you need to move on to a different dataset, you can also use detach to undo that attach function. So hope this is helpful as you get started on your work, and I would encourage you to repurpose my code, and you can update your set working directory. So I might copy what I've run here up here to just save it as a different version of the code. So you can edit the lecture code as you need, and make sure to save as, not override what I had given you, because you want to save the original. And so hit save as in order to save a different version for your own analyses. Hope this is helpful, and good luck running your analyses.